probably very well known to many of you. Her work is deeply rooted in the plein air tradition, which is painting directly in the landscape, which many of us in here have done that, and it's not easy. Originally from the East Coast, Betts began her university education as a physics major at Denison University in Granville, Ohio, and after 2 years, transferred to Cornell University, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Art, Design, and Environmental Analysis.
Very 60s.
Yeah. She earned her MFA then in painting and drawing from the University of Oregon. She became closely connected to the Northwest painting tradition through artist Nelson Sangren and the Oregon Coast painting retreats that helped shape her artistic path. Her teaching career includes the University of Oregon School of Journalism and Lane Community College, where she actually founded the renowned graphic design program. I went to that program, and so many people I know, and I was like, that was you? Betts lives and works on a beautiful 80-acre farm in Elmira. 80-acre farm. It's a little bit of work.
Yeah, a little bit of work.
But her passion is traveling to paint landscapes around Oregon and beyond. If you look at her long resume, which is printed out over there, or see her social media presence, you'll see that she's continuing to exhibit all the time around the Northwest, continuing to paint. And we are so lucky to be among the galleries that represent you. So anyway, thank you so much for coming, and take it away, Betts.
Okay. Welcome, and thank you for coming. It's great. So I just wanted to start out with mentioning a book that I've read recently, and it's called How to Read a Book. It's by Monica Wood. Has anybody read it?
Yeah, that was great.
Okay. Great book. Pick it up. And by reading this book, it made me think about my approach to viewing art and viewing art exhibitions, because we all go in and then we're confronted with, how do I look at the art? Is there a method to looking at art? Is there a right way and is there a wrong way? And you probably know I'm going to say there isn't a way, there isn't a certain way, but there are many ways, and it's really good to think about it and sort of make it a study and sort of keep it in mind when you walk into an area that has paintings. It doesn't have to be a gallery. Just, how do I look at a piece of art? How do I feel a piece of art? Or if it's 3D, how do I observe it? So, I do know that all paintings and painting exhibitions have an underlying story. And it may come from the artist, it may come from the circumstances under which it was painted, or it could come from the exhibit curators, like Karin. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different stories within an exhibit. You know, where was she? How was it framed? You know, was it dropped along the way? How many framing experiences did it have? How hard was the exhibit to hang? So on and so forth. A lot of the story is indicated in the title of this exhibit. And the title often is chosen by the gallery or the artist, his or herself. This title is a solo exhibit, and it was, the title was chosen by both Karin, me, and my daughter. My daughter has a lot to say about how my art, how I name my art, what art hangs together. She's a great source. So the title of this solo exhibit is The Living Landscape, Betts Coles, Oregon. It says a lot, and it means a lot. Consider a title. What does living landscape mean to you personally? And then you ask, does this exhibit fulfill your expectation? Keep these questions in mind. You know, you walk in the door, and you first, in this gallery, you first usually see the title of the exhibit on that wall. And then there's usually material about the artist lying on the countertop. So I would say, walk in, step in the gallery, as I do, take a quick scan to get an overall feeling about the exhibit. Is it dark? Is it brooding? Is it uplifting? Is it bright? What does it feel like to you? And you know, what's the lighting like? And then there is the decision after that as to where to start. And I just plunge. I sort of just walk in and I'm talking, and I usually am with a friend or whatever. And then I'll look up and I'll go, oh, where do I start? I usually start with the artist statement, because that says a lot. And then I just sort of go and I look up and I think, oh, well, let's look at this. It really does not matter where you start, except for when it is a show that's set up chronologically. And I would say either start at the beginning, and those are usually big exhibitions at big, you know, galleries and art places, or start at the end and go backwards. That's a good way to get away from the crowds. Little thing. So, when I'm in front of the painting, I take a glance, I look, and I sort of stand there, and I sort of put myself in front in a stance that says, I'm really looking at this painting. So then that sort of gives you room to really look by yourself. And then just breathe. Look at the painting, breathe. And then know that it's going to take a little bit of time to get to know that painting. It's like when you read a book, it takes time to read a book. When you look at a painting, take time. It's really exciting. And then, let's see what I have written down here. Oh, so it says what I wrote down here. It takes time to get yourself in the mood just to look. And as the artist, it always takes me time to get in the mood to do a painting. And I know a lot of the artists in here, you sort of have to talk to yourself. And okay, I'm gonna get out there and yeah, I'm a little hungry, but I'm here to paint. And the minute I start painting, I start telling my story about the place that I am. And what goes through my mind? Why did the artist choose that subject? You can look at these and you go, yes, why did you choose this? What was special to you that you chose just, you know that this landscape goes on for miles. But why did you choose that portion of the landscape? And then you ask yourself, would I choose that part? Or would I choose this second segment? Or just that and push it way back in the distance? Good questions. Then in looking at it, you sort of go, oh, is it a dark or light painting? Do I like the colors? You know, all that stuff that you know already. And then how does she put the colors on? Are the colors one on top of the other? Or do the colors meet? Are the colors friends? Or are the colors arguing? There's you can tell whether there's tension in a painting or whether a painting is more calm. And you can do that by shape, juxtaposition of shape, or juxtaposition of color. Stroke, how is that? Is that a real calmly put down, blended area, or is that a little bit more frenetic? And I think you can probably see this, look at the sky here. So that is more, there's more energy there than there is in, let's see, this is a calmer painting, don't you think? And this is really about the history, and so just the essence of that tractor in that field. Okay. And then you look for rhythm in the painting. Does it feel like it was done quickly, or does it feel like it was done slowly? And is that artist a slow painter or a quick painter? And what would you say about my paintings?
Slow.
Yes, I am a slow painter. And many times people say, oh, you must be a quick painter because there's so much energy and whatever. But no, I tend to draw and then I paint. And then I revisit the drawing that's in the painting that creates the structure. And then I start painting again. And then towards the end, I'm feeling like that joy. Oh, I got it. Then I trip a little bit, and then I go back and I end the painting. So there's a vocabulary, just like there is a vocabulary in storytelling, and the vocabulary is color and shape and value. So then another question. Do you like the painting? It's a really good question to ask yourself. And it's really okay not to like it. But it's really good for you to ask yourself why. Because then you get to really sort of know what you like. I really love painting because it makes me stop. It makes me slow down. It makes me really, really look. I love to read because in those words, the author is describing a scene that I've probably seen 100 times in my lifetime, but I really don't see it. So then the author is educating me once again and saying to me, slow down, look around, find the joy. It's all around you. Thank you.
Okay, how long did it take you to paint the cowboys?
That's a good question. So, I would have to start from how it began.
Yeah.
So, and I've told this story many times, but I'll tell it really quickly again. I was painting in Diamond, Oregon, and it's in Eastern Oregon, and there are cowboys, and there are birds, and there are birders, and there are painters, and there's cowboys, and cattle, and all sorts of things. So on my way back home from Diamond, I got stuck behind a cattle drive. So that's when the painting began. So this cowboy knocks on my window as I'm sort of waiting behind this huge herd of cattle. And he says, "Ma'am, you can follow us, or you can be brave, and you can just barrel your way through." So I thought, well, I'm just going to take my red truck and we're going to herd cattle. So I just went through of these cows and calves and bulls, because this bull was right here on the side of the window, and I took some pictures as I was riding through. And I knew I could, and then I was so excited about the experience, I went home with my photographs, which were really bad because it was also raining a little bit, so, and the windshield wipers were going back like this. So I had some of the information, and it took me, you know, then I draw, I would say, you know, it took a good week to sort of
Really?
get it together.
A week to do that whole painting?
Yeah, but not from the
Well,
experience.
No, not from the concept, but the
Right.
actual physical painting of it, about a week.
Yeah.
And you think that's slow? I'm sure, just to say, I mean, I would think, wow, you could do that in a week?
Everything is relative.
It's all relative, it's all relative. That's right. I mean, if you turn around and you see the painting of Mackenzie River Trust, right where that green shirt is, right, with the ball cap.
Yeah.
That one, painters were invited to the Mackenzie River Trust area, and it was a private event, and we had just a few hours to paint.
Yeah.
So I painted that in about 2.5 hours. But that doesn't mean anything. You know, some paintings,
Yeah.
they just come, and then some paintings take, like this one with the elk. That one I began down in the Siskiyous, and I had it mostly done, and I took it into the studio, and something just wasn't right. And I told this story too, it just wasn't right, and I finally one day turned around and thought it really needs some life. It needs some wildlife in it. And, you know, it's like the living landscape. You know, there's life in it, there's greenery, there's trees, there's bugs, there's birds. This one really needed to have an elk.
So, to me, your paintings have an immediacy. In fact, it looks to me like you're looking at the scene and painting it. But what you're describing is a composition that you do in different stages that comes from an idea and then evolves.
No, these are right on, these are on site.
They are.
And most of the painting is done when I'm standing up in front of the easel out.
Right.
Yeah, and then some of them are completed right on site.
Right.
And then some come back into my studio, and I need to put those finishing touches on, or it starts raining, or, you know, I'm famished.
Oh, I have a burning question. I have to go back to the cattle thing. I just have to ask you this. When you were driving your red truck through this herd of cattle, did they just get out of your way, or did you have to like nudge their little butts to get them to come?
No, because I did not want to touch any of those cute little calves, you know, with their tails right, whatever. No, it just was a slow, they're very aware of their surroundings, and they're very aware, the calves are very aware of their moms. And, you know, I don't know about the bulls. What do you think?
Yeah, they're paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably keeping more of an eye on you.
The pickup is
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was a slow parting.
So they just kind of moved.
Yeah, and it was
Slowly.
gentle. It was very
Wow.
gentle. There was nothing. And I was not in the mood to just run my engine and just barrel through. I just, you know, it was just a slow, lovely experience.
If you move at the same speed and rhythm of the cows, then you can be accepted
They just
into
think
the
you're another
herd, so
cow.
to speak. If you're much more like this, then you scare them, you spook them.
So I was just an old cow.
That would be so extraordinary.
Yeah.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
How many hours a week do you think you spend like actually painting?
I would say I'm either in the studio or out painting every day, 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, I paint a lot, and that doesn't mean the paintings are wonderful and lovely and, just working. Yeah. But, yeah, and I'm solving problems. Yeah.
Looks like you kind of prefer acrylic over oil. Can you talk about that?
I do prefer acrylic over oil. I did my master's degree in oil and got to be friends with oil, but I started as a watercolor painter, and I really love the feeling of the pigment sort of floating in water. And you can do that with acrylic. And some people really dive into the acrylic and really lay it on really thick.
Yeah.
I don't. I gently, and this is one reason that I'm not, I'm a quick painter. Because I slowly approach it, and there's layer upon layer upon layer, and I don't want to overwork it. So, yeah, and also I use a lot of charcoal. I draw a lot. I draw, I paint, I draw, I paint. So it dries quickly. Again, I really like that.
Yeah.
Where in oil, it's harder to use your charcoal and get that gesture you can get with a pencil or a piece of charcoal.
Thanks.
I kind of picture you out in a little van somewhere camping. Do you do that?
I used to. I don't camp anymore. I really like Airbnbs.
Just curious.
Good man.
It just is, and in the winter, I would say, I used to be out in the rain, under the eave or whatever, and, I've matured into being in my studio, and I solve my painting problems in my studio rather than out in the field. And I feel like I still paint so much out in the landscape and know the landscape that I don't lose that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But please just love your landscape, take care of it, notice it. I mean, that's the thing, it's everywhere, and we are so lucky living in Oregon.
Thank you.
Well, Beth, thank you so much. She will still be here for any burning questions or to meet her in person and go in deeper. Anyway, thank you, Beth Cole.